welcome. This is Hob, and welcome to another Ultimate Apocalypse cast. Today I've got a nice little game for you guys that went down here on Fata Morga. It was played a couple of days ago on test patch between Topher and Yarnum. It made for a pretty back and forth game. So I thought it's not often that games on Fata Morga really go the distance, and I won't give away how long this game goes for. I mean, you can probably see in the title of the thumbnail of the video, but it really went the distance, and I thought we may as well cast this game because it's not often we get a game like that. So with that said, let's talk a little bit about the map. So Fata Morga, it's all about there's a lot of timings which can hit the front points and sometimes the back left point, and the initial capping patterns and pressures at the start of the game. A lot of denying the relic. But overall, this map is critically about critically about the crit controls. So we've got 3 crits spread out across the map, and your army is going to need to be able to fight in multiple locations at once. And given that fact, this matchup, Orks versus Eldar, is pretty competitive. Both factions have got pretty good mobile options. So we've got, for example, the war truck of the Orks, which can rapidly move from one location to another, unload boys from the war truck, spray down an LP or a group of units, get back in, come to another side. Or with the Eldar, for example, they've got a lot of fast hit and run vehicles. They've got bikes, they've got Vipers which can overwhelm units, they've got swooping hawks which can go around in a blob and ambush little groups. They've got warp spiders, all sorts of things, and the Orks have also got good mobile vehicle options in the war track as well. So both of these factions very competitive for this map, so it should really come down to execution and who is able to outplay the other player. So with that said, let's get on into this game. So in the bottom side we have Topher playing as his customary Eldar, and in the top we have Yarnum playing as Orks. I know Orks isn't Yarnum's main faction, but he certainly he knows how to play the video game, so we'll see what he goes for. Barracks and a gen plan for Yarnum. Looks like he's going for 2 capping squads and then a second engineer. So very passive out of Yarnum so far, and he looks to be saving his money for barracks units. He has added a 3rd slugger actually, so triple capping squads, and it makes sense, you know, we're on a 3 crit map, so 3 lanes, you may as well have 3 capping squads. And it looks like Topher is doing the same, yeah, 3 capping squads out for Topher. But here, what do we see here? So we got double barracks here for Topher. Looks like he's doing this double Banshee Dire Avenger build that he likes to do. And as you can see, he's cutting generators, so he's really focusing on the aggression here this game. And we'll have to see how well this gets on. Meanwhile, on the other side, Yarnum's gone double gen, so the 2 very opposite builds here. Yarnum might be potentially regretting this decision to make this second generator. This second gen is 1 less, what do you call it, Warg banner on the low ground, or 1 less Warg banner on the high ground. It's 3 less mines-ish. And look, he goes straight for his LP2s, so Yarnum going for a sort of fast economy, whereas Topher really putting the aggression on, just really going down to the bottom of what he can handle with requisition, and double assisting each point as it comes out. Yarnum's not going to be able to hold onto his relic. Will he get a point down in time? Looks like he will. So no decap. Nice teleport in, coming in from the big mech. Does splash down the Banshees, as the Banshees are going after the Gretchen. I've got to say, not the best target, as they now are being surrounded by the big mech and sluggers of Yarnum. Meanwhile, this bottom slugger squad is going after Dire Avengers, looking to lock them up in melee combat so they can't deal their damage. Wise move out of Yarnum. These top Banshees take a very poor trade against the big mech. They might even get wiped. Looks like they're reinforcing, so for keeping the squad alive. Meanwhile, the Dire Avengers have stopped moving, and that's allowed the Slugger Boys to now get trapped in between the Banshees and the Dire Avengers. These Slugger Boys are looking to get wiped now as the Banshees unload damage after damage into them. The other Banshee squad transfers to focus down the squad. It looks like they will get it. There's no reinforce out of this squad from Yharnam, so this squad is going to get shredded by Banshees. And it looks like Topher decisively wins this battle. Just the big mech out on his own now, and the DPS significantly reduced for Yharnam. Let's check what's happening off the back of this. We've got Topher capping the left point and capping the mid point. Meanwhile, on the right, we got Yharnam capping the right point. But the LP2 is finished, so that's going to give a bit of extra armor to this LP. Bit of extra HP, sorry. And Yharnam, if I were him, I would be retreating the big mech out of here. And just putting him on shooting stance. But he's taking a very negative trade now against all these Banshees. And they will slowly rip him apart. He gets the sync kill, that's nice. Delays the attack for a bit and allows the LP to deal some more damage. But he's going for a bomb teleport. A nice split from Topher though, so only one model going down to that bomb and a couple more being injured. So nice play out of Yharnam. Yharnam hasn't stopped macroing behind this engagement. He's got 2 extra Warg banners up, and he's slapping one down on the high ground, so that should shut down any further aggression from these Banshees against this front point. What Yharnam needs to do now, and I think he knows it too, is just a micro back and forth of these 2 units. Keep Topher running back and forth around this area, and all the while getting shot at. We see Banshee models being picked off here by the guns of the LP. And yeah, Yharnam's just going to micro back and forth in this instance, keep Topher busy. But off the back of this aggression, Topher has capped up the relic for Yharnam's side, and the Slugger Boy squad that had originally gone and capped the crit is now going up against an LP2. Is not going to be able to chunk its way through that without taking significant damage. Topher meanwhile capping the right side, and it looks like the big mech will escape on very low HP. Shooter Boy's out now with big shooters for Yharnam, so he's got his pile of guns up. Like I say, he hasn't stopped macroing off the back of this aggression he's facing. 4 big shooters in this squad, 2 in this squad, and this big mech's going to have to be careful. The Banshee's switching target. He's getting very low now. He really needs to pull back or teleport. He's going down into 70 HP, 60, 50, 30, 20. Oh, nearly going down 5 HP. And he barely, oh, it looks like Topher's going in for the kill. Doesn't quite get it. So Yharnam either trying to bait Topher in there or do some 200 IQ play, or just playing risky with it. So I think he's just playing risky with it. But he needs to move his big mech away. He will do it now because Topher can just switch target on this LP and go after it. But Topher has switched target and he has gone in, and the big mech has been sacked for nothing. Oh, poor Yharnam. There we go. It seems like every cast I do, a big mech gets thrown. So we've all been there, we've all done that. Off the back of this, let's have a look. We've got Topher's got tech coming up, about to be halfway, and he's slowly scaling up his LP2s as he scaled up his generators to standard play there out of Topher. That's what we really expect. No one wants to stay in the Tech Zero phase forever, unless they're going completely all in, but all-inning an Orc who's got turrets all over his base is simply not viable, so he is scaling up and using his aggression to gain an advantage. And this is what I'm talking about with this faction being competitive on this map. Sluggers are good at winning individual fights against things like a single squad of Guardians, because they force you to micro for the ranged player. As a single click engagement, you tends to win for the melee player. But Eldar with the fleet of foot are able to roam around in these groups pretty quickly and cut off these outer squads. So Topher really utilising the strengths of his faction wisely and doing quite good work with it. But Tech 1 is out for Yharnam. He's going for a war truck, and he has a war truck out already to do some LP harassment. Meanwhile on the left, looks like the shooter boys of Yharnam are going to get caught out. Let's take a look at the tech from Topher. It is finished, and he's now getting his global resource upgrades as a priority. Absolutely necessary to get that up as soon as possible. And Yharnam's war truck doing some harassment on the right side. We'll see if there's anything here to counter from Topher. Nothing so far, but it looks like he's double pumping something into swooping hawks. So these swooping hawks are going to come in and be able to take on this war truck. Meanwhile on the left side, Yharnam has been forced off of the crit by the Banshees. Storm Boys is an option here for Yharnam. I can't say I necessarily agree with this choice. If it were up to me, I would just split my I'd make an extra squad of shooters and split and kite with them. I think these Storm Boys are just going to trade out against Banshees and trade out against what's going to be the Swooping Hawks soon. But a war truck has reached the front lines and is going to be allowing micro potential here to secure this area. Looks like Swooping Hawks have reached the right hand side. Yharnam going for a decap and retreating his war track, but he needs to keep retreating it or he's going to lose it. This thing ideally ought to run all the way back to base. They will lose that war track. Let's see, will Yharnam get the full decap? No, he won't. Meanwhile, on the left side, this big fight over here. This composition with shooter boys and war truck is simply superior to a blob of Banshees. A war truck they can just pop in and out of the war truck endlessly and fire upon the Banshees, and these Banshees are now taking heavy losses. Topher's going to need to move on out of here before he loses his squads completely, and he will back off now. And this is the competitiveness of Orks often in these games, is how well you're able to move around with the groups of shooters like this to intercept these attacks from the Eldar. Topher taking a good little fight, 2 units against 1 in the middle here. But with his reinforcements arrive, he is going to have to back off, losing a few models here in the retreat. So Yharnam is paying good attention here. And in terms of crit control, let's take a look at what Topher can see. He's got the left crit, and he was contesting the right crit, but his Guardians have been killed by the Storm Boys of Yharnam. So both players really fighting over control of the crits. Looks like Topher is getting a plasma grenade research. And it looks like Yharnam is teching up to tier 1. Sorry, not teching up to tier 1. He's getting a second headquarters. I don't know what I'm doing with my words here. The second headquarters on the way for Yharnam. And he has got full LP2s. And getting a wall at the front. And looks like Topher wants to snipe the war truck. And will do successfully. He won't stick around to fight these shooter boys because there's simply far too much firepower. But a nice pick off there from Topher. Meanwhile on the right side, Storm Boys fighting Banshees. Looks like the Banshees are taking the worst end of this engagement, as they will have to retreat now. But Topher with his Swooping Hawks is coming in across the map, and he will be able to kite down these Storm Boys. So the Storm Boys being caught out on the map here are going to need to retreat. They will retreat to some big shooters. So nice move, Micah there out of Yharnam, repositioning. And I just don't feel like these Storm Boys are going to get a lot of work done. Huge disruption from the grenades over here. Meanwhile on the left side, just a Wave Serpent sharking around for some free kills. But the shooter boys do hide inside the settlement. Tank Busters now out for Yharnam. Going to force off this Wave Serpent. And on the right side, Topher continues to kite these Storm Boys. But enough shooter boys have now joined the front line that it's going to really put up a decent fight against these Swooping Orks. Banshees getting into melee combat. Locking up the shooter boys. Nice work there from Topher. So I wouldn't say this trade is particularly going well in either side. Quite a few models being lost from Topher, but quite a few from Yharnam as well. Meanwhile on the left, shooter boys clean up a squad of Banshees. Sorry, not Banshees, Guardians. And Yharnam is quite well fortified. He's got a settlement here on the left, getting LP3s up, and he's got a wall section on the right here, getting some gun add-ons. If we take a look at the economy situation, looks like Telfa's got 1, 2, 3, and a 4th LP3 coming. Tech second HQ coming up, as well as Tech 2. We'll take a look at Yharnam's economy in a second. At the moment, his shooter boys are being kited back to base by this mobile army from Topher. But if we take a look at the overall state of the armies on the map, out here for Yharnam, we've got a lot of stuff. We've got tank busters, we've got shooter boys, Storm Boys here, another squad of shooter boys, and this squad is just fighting on its own. So for taking these little 2v1 engagements, he will have to back off now. But I can't help but feel if Yharnam just sent everything that he had right now, he's got tank busters and 3 squads of shooter boys. a Storm Boy to lock up the Banshees, I think he'd have enough to just come in and kill Topher. I don't think he realizes that Topher is just on a couple of swooping Hawks, and you won't need a lot to focus down these 3 or 4 Banshee models quickly, and then once that's done, you're against 2 squads of swooping Hawks with a whole army of shit. So Yharnam really is prepared militarily. It's just whether he can take the engagements that he needs to take against Topher. These Storm Boys are now getting kited back. But yeah, let's take a quick look at economies before the next engagement comes up. Before that even, more swooping Hawks from Topher, and his tier 2 is coming up. From Yharnam, we're going to get an LP3 count. We got 1. Just 1 at the moment, but he's building a Gork resource facility. Topher being very patient here, not taking the full fight until he needs to. Just backing off now, kiting these Storm Boys. Wants to eliminate them from the engagement before taking on the shooters. And he will do successfully, but here he comes. He's diving in, no doubt going to throw some disruption down to disrupt these shooter boys. These are his only real threat on the front line of these shooters. Yep, the grenades coming in as Topher kites this entire army group back to base. You can't help but feel, where is the rest of Yharnam's army? And the answer is it's over here in this HQ. And so he really is thin on the ground in this particular engagement. And Topher just kiting these shooter boys back. He will have to leave now as 2 more shooter boy squads turn up. If only they were here in the engagement earlier, things might have been different. Topher taking a few decent losses here before microing back. Yeah, and he needs to get out of there. But I'm going to do that economy count. So for Yharnam, we have 261 requisition. He's got 2 HQs, he's got an LP3, and he's got a Gork resource factory. And let's take a look at crit control for him, just 1. So 260 rec. For Topher, 223. So despite the fact that he's macroing quite well, he's getting his globals up for tier 2, and he's on full LP3s. He's not got a relic, he's not got a critical, and he's not got this Gork resource facility. So Yharnam ahead in the economy game. Next fight coming up. Looks like Topher's trying to dive in against his HQ. To be honest, I don't like this from Topher. Yeah, he's getting some nice grenades off, doing some decent spread damage, but he's fighting a shooter boy squad here, and the settlement with just, anti-vehicle type units. I think although he is going to focus fire this Grok squad and wipe it off the field, he's taking pretty heavy losses here. A lot of swooping Hawks going down. This squad almost being wiped. So not the best engagement there, a bit dirty from both sides. So yeah, not too sure about that one. But he's taken pretty good trades other than that fight so far. Looking at crit control, if we take a look at Yharnam's POV, he's capping the right, he's got mid, and he's going towards the left as well. And he's really splitting in every direction. He's going to be raiding on the right, raiding on the left. And I can't feel that this is a wrong decision against Topher's army. Topher is fighting all in one place with this group of swooping Hawks. Looks like we've got warp spiders on the left side, very dangerous unit, good anti-infantry. And against just a squad of tank busters and shooter boys, these warp spiders will probably be enough to take them down, especially with the destruction of grenades. And a Seer Council to join in. Meanwhile on the right side, tank busters have been finished off, and shooter boys are being retreated away from, but this, with no anti-vehicle in the area, this Night Spinner will be able to take care of them. On the left though, Orks being wiped out by the mobility of these warp spiders. As you see, as soon as they get into melee, they teleport off to the side, and they'll start unloading into them. And they have 2 units now here against 1, so enough to kite. So a very efficient fight here for Topher. Although the Seer Council did get wiped, it did its job and it locked things up in melee and allowed the warp spiders to get terrific damage done. And here come the swooping Hawks to follow it up. They'll kill as many enemy units in the retreat as possible, throw disruption grenades, and really inflict a lot of damage on Yharnam's remaining army. Yharnam will retreat under the guns of this settlement. Take a quick look at economies. Another LP3 coming up for Yharnam. He's getting consistent flow of upgrades and is replenishing his war trucks. Behind this, he's going for flash kits, so a very good choice of unit there for Yharnam. He needs the ability to shred infantry, and he's going to get that with these flash kits. It'd be worth double pumping them really if you got 2 barracks, and he does realise it now, so using up his wreck float and double pumping these flash kits out, that's going to be quite something to contend with for Topher. Second Gork resource facility as well. And if we look on Topher's side of the map, Yharnam's still with good crit control despite this. He's got the right crit, and he's making sure that Topher can't cap the middle crit. But this gun wagon is vastly overextended. It's way far out on the map, and if you give Swooping Hawks an opportunity like this, they'll take it. And Topher's not one to sleep on such an opportunity. Topher with the first third HQ to be dropped out of these 2 players, and is going for his tier 3, so just gradually macroing up here in this game. Nice to be able to hit him while maintaining a, I want to say actually it's a relatively small army, because most of this is anti-vehicle and only mild anti-infantry, and he's just waiting to pounce on if Yharnam splits his army. So hopefully Yharnam will have a bit more units in one place next time and be able to counter him. We've got Seer Council on the left side here, going up against Storm Boys. I think we all know how that's going to end. Certainly in favour of the Seer Council. And a Warbot out from Yharnam. It's interesting, you don't often see this unit used in 1 vs 1. Not as far as I can tell anyway. Someone might correct me in the comments, but yeah, it's almost 600 wreck, and I just can't see the Eldar allowing you to use it to a great effect. Sort of clumsy melee like this, but he is currently anyway. Warp Spiders cleaning up Shooter Boys on the right hand side. Nice play out of Topher. And on the left, the Seer Council getting cut to ribbons by this mobile squad of flash kits inside the war truck. And it looks like Yharnam split his forces. A war truck on the left and a war truck on the right. And it looks like Topher's going to cut off and isolate this squad on the right. And with him fighting with all his army in one place now, this flash kit squad is completely doomed. Completely and utterly doomed. Meanwhile on the left, the war truck goes down to the LP3s, and flash kits are forced to get out of there. But a total wipe of the flash kits on the right from Yharnam. And a war boss is causing a bit of havoc, but his damage output is limited compared to all these flash kits. So Topher wisely focusing on the flash kits is his primary concern. He's probably going to throw some disruption grenades into this to knock them about. You see the plasma grenades land, but not before Yharnam teleports out. So a nice retreat there out of Yharnam, seeing that Topher's whole force came back to engage. And at the end, what do we see after this? A flash kit squad got wiped, and an LP3 went down for Topher. And Yharnam, once again, his army is in a split situation. He's rallying back now towards his army group. Topher's choosing to take the fight. Very decisive out of Topher. Have to commend it. He's seen that this engagement is ever so slightly in his favour, and so he's pounced on it. Grenades going out to disrupt. And to be honest, I would take one of these Swooping Hawks and just put them in melee against anything to stop these flash kits from shooting. It looks like there's a pretty messy fight. Both sides taking pretty major losses. Models going down from either side. But I think Topher just about has enough. He has a bit more than Yharnam. And yeah, Yharnam is going to be tied back to base. Possibly losing another model here. So nice work from Topher. He really jumped on this engagement once he noticed that he had more. And it's definitely a skill in this game to look at a group of units, calculate that you have more, calculate that you've got the upper hand in the engagement in a short space of time, and then jump in on it. And Topher has certainly got that ability. So let's have a look. Warboss doing some light generator harassment here, and he has taken out the front point of Topher. So attrition, really aggression is the word here for Yharnam. He's moving in, he's taking some fair old losses. There's this Warboss just gazing up in the sky in despair as he knows that his days are over. But he did kill a couple of generators and an LP3 before he went down, so we'll see how this works out for him. And another LP3 going down as Yharnam looks to control the center, the left, and the right crits, and is pushing in at the same time. So Topher's going to have to come up with something. Eldritch Storm comes down, teleport to dodge, but straight away the Farseer with a disruption attack knocks these flashes all over the place. Swooping Hawks coming in for the fight, as well as Warp Spiders. But this Farseer is doing absolute work here. More AoE attacks to demorale, and is getting into melee combat with this squad of flash kits. Only one squad of flash kits actually actively shooting, and it's being completely focused by the Warp Spiders, and they are going to take them down. So Yharnam being absolutely donked on in this engagement, despite having comparable numbers of troops, but a very good bomb out of Yharnam as well. And he manages to splash basically every single Warp Spider. But I feel he needed to wait until he had a bigger army group before coming in, because the sheer amount of disruption and disturbance with the Farseer that Topher was able to put out meant that Topher got the upper hand of the engagement completely. And more point harass here from Yharnam. We've got Squid Bombers coming in, so Yharnam simply not letting up on the aggression, is continually harassing Topher's base. And I bet we'll see this reflected in the economies. Topher on 223 wreck, and Yharnam on 377. So he's macroed up. He's got a third Gork resource facility. He's starting his fourth HQ. He's really macroed up into this game, and with a big wreck float, so he can afford, with this level of crit control, to replenish all of those flash kit numbers if he so pleases. So it's still very competitive in this game despite the heavy losses in this area. The overall macro strategy seems to be paying off for Yharnam, and he's got to feel that the mistakes he's made before is having too little army in one place, and he needs to just build up a nice big blob of flash kits, even bigger than the one before, get the ball rolling, maybe mix in a few looted tanks for good measure to spend a bit of power, and that way he'll be able to outlast Topher in an engagement. Even though if he gets disrupted, he'll simply have too much shit for Topher to beat. Remember, he really only needs to get past the Warp Spiders, and there's now 1, 2, 3 squads of them out. So if he can get, you know, maybe 5 squads of flash kits and a couple of looted tanks and fight in one spot, he has a pretty reasonable chance of beating Topher's army. But I don't like this play here out of Yharnam. We've got a lone squad of flash kits going to the right side, and it's pretty isolated, and Topher's surely going to take advantage, and he does. He's diving in. He's going to shred these flash kit numbers down, model after model going down, and he decisively gets out of there before the rest of the force can respond. So nice picking off opportunity there from Topher, really utilizing the way in which Eldar work with these fast in and out abilities. Topher now going for his first, second, third, fourth HQ. He's up to tier 3, so he's making a heavy support portal, and is continuing to scale power behind this, using a decent amount of most of his resources. Some people at this stage of the game, you see them floating far too much. And Topher does have a bit of float, to be fair, but it's not terrible. But Yharnam once again going out with a single flash kit squad. This is just going to get cut off and killed. He cannot afford to be hemorrhaging small groups of units like this in this game anymore. And once again does go down. But Topher's army type, if you take a look at it, if you wonder why he's not pushing, we've got 3 squads of anti-infantry and 3 squads of anti-vehicle and no real anti-structure of any kind. So if he were to actually push into this, you know, dive into this base with full of WAG banners and HQs and things, and these bomb squigs, he'd likely get splashed around by the bomb squigs and shredded by all the turrets and building fire. So Topher just content to sit back here in this game, continue to macro up. He's going now for his tier 4 and save his cash. So he's got his heavy support portal, but he's not gone for any super heavies yet. So he's just content to macro up here and jump on any run by or group of units that Yharnam presents to him. Taking a look at his vision, he's going after all 3 crits at once now as he explodes out onto the map after Yharnam's recent losses. And he is going to be keeping his squad safe against his fighter bomber using his fire prism. It's one of my favourite units aesthetically in this game is the fire prism. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. Really nice model. Speaking of nice models, we've got a kill burster out, which is also a thing of beauty if you ask me. Let's take a look at Yharnam's macro. We've got 3 squads of looters queued up, and we're double pumping kill bursters. Warboss is out again. I hope he uses this Warboss a little bit more wisely than the previous one. I hope he uses it with the army in a big engagement rather than raiding with it. There's certainly other units in the game that can do raiding for you, but I'm not sure the Warboss is the best raiding option. And we've got another HQ coming up for Yharnam, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and now a 5th HQ. And looters coming out, so we're going into these late game units. Good anti-super heavy here from Yharnam. And these kill busters firing all the way across the lake over the Topher's units. Looks like we've got some squig bombs rallying in. And Yharnam's still going for these sort of 2-pronged style assaults. He's going to have to be pretty careful though, because the LP3s of Topher's listening posts are anti-vehicle. And it looks like Yharnam, he doesn't have a lot out in terms of infantry at the moment. He really needs to mass up a bigger ball. He's going for Storm Boys, but I can't feel that this is a bit late for Storm Boys in this game, really. They're mostly outscaled at this point, and given just how microable this army is, we've got swooping hawks that can jump and kite, and we've got these guys which can teleport and kite all day, shred infantry. I just don't feel that Storm Boys is the right choice here. But Topher's diving in here against the Killbuster. Looks like he's going to get one, getting very close in. Has to back off for the looters shooting him, and this Warboss is just honestly being wasted here. He assassinates the Farseer, so a nice pick off really actually, but certainly not worth the 600 wreck he had to pay for it. He's damaged an LP3 and assassinated a Farseer. You know, it could be worse, but it's not great. Not a great trade there for Yharnam. And let's see, there's a super heavy being built. What have we got here? We've got a Scorpion super heavy tank coming out here for Topher, and his tier 4 is almost done, so lots of threatening and scary things will be coming out soon from him. But you got to feel this army group is still not that big for Yharnam. He's got 1 squad of looters and a weird boy. It's almost like a hit squad, this group of units on the right. And if we look at what economy Yharnam has, he's got this massive economy, and he's not really pumping on all cylinders. You could be triple pumping looted tanks with this economy, and double pumping, you know, flash kits for a little bit. There's just a massive amount of economy, and the same goes for Topher. I mean, he could be pumping a huge amount more units than he is. He could be triple War Factory Fire Prism with double Aspect Portal Wraith Guard at the moment, and be spending all this cash, but to some degree it could be deliberate from both of these guys. Perhaps Yharnam saving up for a Gargan, and perhaps Topher saving up for a nuke. We know he likes to use his early nukes, so that could be coming out from him. But like I say, this group of units on the right is pretty small, and it's more of a hit squad than an actual army. It is going to be taken out. Meanwhile on the left side, Mega Armored Knobs coming in to do some raiding, but they are alone, and I don't like this choice out of Yharnam to raid with small groups of units, as Topher's got the perfect army to jump on top of them with anti-infantry and just shred them apart, and that is what he's doing. So I think run-bys is not the answer here, perhaps in another game on a more spread out map. And this map is relatively spread out, but not so spread out that Topher's not going to be able to respond quickly with his army. And we see the last of Yharnam's right-hand hit squad going down now. Both sides floating quite a few resources. Looks like Yharnam is spending his now. What's he going for? More kill bursters and more looter boys and more Mega Armored Knobs. So a little bit, and he seems to have spent a huge chunk of power on another Gork resource factory. So I honestly think it's questionable at this stage to make a super expensive Gork resource factory. I mean, you've already got 3, right? This could be, you know, like, 8 freaking tanks instead. And looks like the weird boy is going to go down on the right side. I do love the animation for this unit. It just looks great. It sounds great too. And Yharnam coming in with another little, you know, this is not an army, this is a small group of units. And yep, Topher's going to jump straight on it again. And going to start shredding it apart. And that didn't take long. Meanwhile, a hit squad coming in. They do good building damage, these Mega Armored Knobs, so you can be fair to them. They are a nice chunky late game infantry choice. So are they really going to get done what they need to get done? Looters opening up against the Ork Spiders, doing some pretty decent damage. And the Cobra Super Heavy opening up too. Look here, the micro ability of this army. It can simply be microed around, and those Mega Armored Knobs and Storm Boys, which I see dead here, really got nothing done. Fire Dragons being leapt out of a forward Wave Serpent do take down a Kill Burster. Nice little bit of pick off there for Topher, recognizing the overextension and pouncing on it with a hit squad here. Nice work there out of him. And Yharnam with a pretty well fortified base here with these zap guns. Storm Boys being caught out on the map by the Warp Spiders. And we see a Daka Stomper being built up for Yharnam. And I'm not sure if this is the right thing to be spending money on at this time. Well, he has got a ton of money in the bank, so he may as well spend it. But we've already got a Cobra Super Heavy out for Topher, and it looks like he's producing something else too. Another Cobra Super Heavy, so anti-Titan relic units coming out for Topher. And this Minas teleporter is being focused by him. The health has gone to a crawl and is slowly creeping up, so Yharnam must have some builders. Yep, working away at it to keep it alive. It's going to be pretty close as to whether this Daka Stomper is actually going to come out or not. It's being focused by the Fire Dragons, which are now being locked up by some Slugger Boys. And also the Warp Spiders getting in on the job. Now shredding the Gretchen from behind. And a Shadow Seer has joined the front lines. I'll go to Topher's POV. Look on this Shadow Seer. Casting some abilities here against the looters. And it's going to be very close as to whether this Daka Stomper comes out. 98%. Barely comes out. But I don't think it's going to last very long. I mean, Topher's already got a couple of super heavies out here. And we'll take a look at the health of this Daka Stomper. Yeah, that thing is going down quickly. Yharnam's going to need to trigger the ability that allows it to last longer. And it will get temporarily range invulnerability with that ability. See that next incoming shot doing nothing to it. He's going to have to either retreat this thing or it's going to die. But I think it's pretty doomed anyway. Looters doing what they can to shoot at these Cobra Super Heavies, doing their job. And they are quite effective at it. So this Cobra will have to back off away from these looters. But with Warp Spiders up close and personal now, these looters will be forced back and killed. And I think this is looking to be pretty much game here for Yharnam. I think Topher's definitely got the upper hand at this point. He's got 3 super heavies out and is finishing off the meanest teleporter. Meanwhile, Yharnam's still going into kill bursters. You know, he's not building the counter units here. I think a couple of war tracks full of looters or mega armored knobs and get nice and close up to these cobras would be the way to go about it. If you've got detection, you've got enough looters, you can gun this down. Let's take a look at the macro from this side. Topher now with the super weapon out, and he's got another HQ, is continuing to scale his power. So we will be seeing a nuke relatively soon out for Topher, and the Shadow Seer, which needs to be very careful. He's getting right in the thick of the action. I would be keeping this thing further back. Another super heavy goes down to the mega armored knobs. A nice play there out of Yharnam. And if these Megatobs turn around, they can absolutely clobber this Shadow Seer. If they just turn around and do it, they will not recognize the opportunity there. Killburster's not going to be a great unit here against these Cobra super heavies. Cobras simply are designed to kill other vehicles, and they'll do so very effectively. Another Killburster going down. Let's see, where's the Shadow Seer at? It's come back to the main base. Mega Armed Knob's trying to get on top of this Cobra. Topher is paying attention though, will micro it back, will jump it back to base. And he needs to be careful with this Shadow Seer. The one thing I haven't mentioned that's extremely important is the Shadow Seer gets a nuke ability. That's right, yes, a nuke ability. It's basically a Death Strike missile launcher in Eldar form. So if you keep this thing alive, after a little bit, when this nuke is about 70%, you'll be able to drop a nuke from the Shadow Seer. But Topher right now seems to be throwing away his Shadow Seer, and Yharnam is going after it. If Yharnam finishes it, well, like I was saying, if Yharnam finishes this thing off, that's one less nuke he has to deal with. But the war boss has got depression and has decided to walk off the face to the ground. So unfortunate there for Yharnam that he's not seeing this opportunity to kill this Shadow Seer, and is instead raiding generators with his war boss. While on the left side, just another hit squad. But like I say, Topher has the perfect army for jumping on run-bys. So it's just not a big enough group of army at once to really affect him in this game. Check back in on the Shadow Seer. Looks like the Cobra Super Heavy is getting some repairs, and the war boss does successfully retreat out. I love his walking animation. It is something to behold. I think that's what truly makes him war boss, is how he looks when he walks. Absolutely beautiful unit. So I think if Yharnam watches this game back, he'll be thinking to himself, dang, I really should have built up a considerable blob and just sent it in. Topher with a big float, so he's deliberately cash floating so he can dump nukes on Yharnam. And no doubt that this Shadow Seer is pretty much there at this point. Is going to be casting a nuke, and will we see it? We see a disruption here on the Gretchen. How much progress is it on? It's on about 85, so it's pretty much ready. And let's have a look. Yes, Topher casting the nuke now, and Yharnam's base being absolutely bombed out to shit by this nuke. And we've got all the main core LPs going down, all the core generators going down. Absolute decimation. And it's not going to be long before he has the nuke from the nuke center as well. So massive damage from Topher. Let's take a look at Yharnam's power economy. All the way down to 0 power economy. Not that he needs generators because he has so much power in the bank anyway. But yeah, it's a huge economic loss there for Yharnam. His Gork resource facilities and his HQs with the Wreck Global are still generating him a very good amount. But yeah, decimation. And another hit squad here has come out for Yharnam and is going to be cut to shreds. Same here on top. We've got another hit squad of mega armored knobs, but the repairs coming down on this Cobra are keeping it alive. It's going to have to back off soon though, or the hit squad will be surrounded by warp spiders and shredded again. Yeah, absolute destruction. And here comes the second nuke from Topher, destroying what little is left of Yharnam's base. And that's going to be game. So well played, well done from both players. This game went on for 43 minutes, remained competitive throughout, and yeah, just some very good engagements, some very bad engagements. Real mix of gameplay in this match, and you got to give it to Yharnam for really controlling the crits as Orks versus Eldar in all three locations for a very good solid amount of time. Both were extremely active in going and capping and decapping the crits over and over again. And Yharnam with his early run buys, I mean, he had a war track which killed an LP pretty nicely. He had bomb squids which killed an LP. He had a war boss that killed an LP. He did lots of harassment. He came in, he killed both these LPs with flash kits, and Topher just lasting the course of the game despite being down on crits in the mid game with these, you know, these really solid engagements that he took with the disruption and the micromanagement of units. I think the turning point was really the Farseer around here, that when the main engagement came up, a big group of flash kits came in. The Farseer casted an Eldritch Storm here, a Psychic Storm here, immediately had a disruption attack which knocked Orks all over the place, and then locked up a full flash kit squad with the big mech in melee combat for like a solid minute during the fight. So that Fata, before she got assassinated by the war boss, later on she did absolute work. So I'll give MVP unit to the Farseer in that engagement. So let's have a look at the stats. So the main thing to note here is let's look at resources. We've got 106,000 to 105,000, so pretty much neck and neck economies here throughout this game. They remain very competitive throughout, and as the crits swung back and forth between the players, I'm surprised Topher managed to recover and compete with Yharnam's economy. I think if Yharnam had spent more of his money and really built up a big force of flash kits with some looted tanks behind it, he would have rolled over Topher with swooping hawk army, an army of warp spiders, but it was not to be. Both the players feeling that they have to fight in multiple locations, and being in that frame of mind, it's hard to suddenly, you know, commit to a major fight. In military, Topher taking absolutely fantastic trades here, big good KD ratio, and obviously the nukes at the end destroying all the buildings. So that's about that. I'm not going to take a look at the technology tree because no one gives a crap about that. That's just about how many barracks upgrades there are in your faction's armories, so no one gives a crap about that. And yeah, thank you all so very much for watching. This is Hob, signing out.